Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this edition of Unpopular Review. While you're at it, why you give us a follow on these beautiful social media platforms known as Facebook and Twitter at Unpopular Review. But there's another one. Give us a follow on Instagram. We got funny pictures, we got updates, and we have things where we tell you everything that's going on. So why don't you give us a follow on Instagram at unpopular.review. And now, back to the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If it's Tuesday, it's Unpopular Review. We can also say the same thing for Thursday. But tonight we're going to do James Bond in our ongoing James Bond series. As you know, we're reviewing all 20-something James Bond films, or maybe just a fraction of them. And tonight we're going to welcome, as always, I am M when we're talking about Bond. Here's 007 himself. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
What's going on, man?
Happy to.
I am really ready for this one. Tomorrow Never Dies. Story of my life.
We have our quartermaster himself, Q. Q, how are you doing, sir?
Chilling.
Okay, Q, the talkative one. And then, as always, we have Miss Moneypenny. Miss Moneypenny, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well this evening, and how are you?
Miss Moneypenny is shy. She's drinking her favorite tea, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. Would you like to talk about it?
Oh, no, this is actual tea this evening, and I don't want to give it a shout out because we are not sponsored. But if they want to sponsor us, hit our emails.
All right, we're going to jump into it. As you know, we start promptly every time, whenever we start this show, every Tuesday and Thursday, so you need to tune in. But we're going to jump into the synopsis of Tomorrow Never Dies, the second outing of Pierce Brosnan as Agent 007. And in this one, we find 007 going up against a media conglomerate run by a man determined to write the world's future a day before everyone else, pitting the United Kingdom and China against each other in an attempt to start a global nuclear war. We're going to go into our first segment, which is best of, worst of. Who would like to start first?
Well, first we got to say who picked the movie and why they picked it.
Thank you, Miss Moneypenny.
The only problem with doing that, because I don't want to pick it. The only problem with doing that is it automatically pretty much spoils what I'm going to say at the end. But I'm going to go ahead and do it. Tomorrow Never Dies is actually my favorite James Bond movie. I love this movie. Yes. There's a lot of things that I say and do that I got from this movie. Starting many wars for my benefit has been from this movie. So just understand that I'm going to be a geek fandom when it comes to this movie tonight.
Okay.
Quotable should be interesting.
So, do you want, since this is your favorite, do you want to give us your best of, worst of?
Actually, no. I'm going to go second because I feel like I'm lagging a little bit because you're behind. So I'm going to go out and come back in. I'll be right back.
Don't worry. All right, Chris is shooting from China, the South China Sea, much like this movie with 007. I just have two best of and a couple and a few worst of.
Oh,
yeah. So I don't know if you want me to go first or I can go last or whatever. It doesn't matter. But if anybody wants to take it before I do,
okay.
So,
full disclosure, I've only saw bits and pieces of this movie because I've been very busy. But one thing that I will say is that I definitely want to sit down and give this movie the full chance that it deserves because it's very entertaining. Now, the first scene that I really liked, which is very entertaining to me, was this scene, and that is when Q talks to 007 about the insurance of the vehicle. And he gets this little like remote control for the car. And you can see that Q is having trouble like driving it. And he's telling 007 like, hey, listen, it's very difficult to drive. So then 007 takes the control and he's like, oh, let me see how she reacts to my touch. He starts whipping that car like crazy, and then the background music of the 007, it just fits in perfectly at that time. And I think that's one of the first scenes that really brings you into like the hype of of James Bond, because that little car scene where he's just twirling the thing around and making it go fast and then just stopping right in front of them, and then Q classically says, "Grow up, 007." That was awesome. I thought that was great. And okay, so now there's a lot of good scenes in this movie, so I won't ruin it. But the scene, so well, I'll just jump into the scene that I didn't like. And the scene that I didn't like was when Elliot, it was around the end, when Elliot was when he thought that he killed James already, and he had just gotten Wei Lin, like he was like talking to Wei Lin, and he had just captured her. And then she was like trying to fight back, and then he started doing all this Karate Kid stuff. He started going, whoa, 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 and then he called it pathetic. Like, I wasn't feeling that. I felt like that was mad racist.
Yes.
Now wait a minute, just so for those who haven't seen it, Elliot, he's talking about Elliot Carver, the antagonist of this movie.
Yeah, he goes, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, what? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
That was
now you said that as your worst that you did.
Yeah. That is
okay.
That is yeah.
I have to disagree with that. I don't think it was racist at all.
What? Okay.
I don't see what was racist.
Are you kidding me?
I felt like that was.
He's not mocking Chinese people. He's mocking the martial art.
Well, yeah,
I agree. Think it was racist. I don't know about these guys, but I think it was racist.
Yeah.
I agree with what James said. That's exactly what my opinion is. She tried to kick him, so of course he's gonna mock. Like if somebody tries to swing you, like So I think you're just being sensitive.
Would he have done that to James Bond? Would he have done that to James?
James Bond doesn't do martial arts in these.
But I'm saying exactly. But had he have done it, would he have done it to James? That's the question. I don't think he would have.
I'm over here. Trying to see if I'm the one lagging, but I can see Chrissy. I can see and hear Chrissy fine, and see and hear Vicky fine. But James, it's like you're doing your best Chinese impression, where you're saying words, but your mouth be quiet. Yeah.
Don't laugh at that.
Where did James go?
I had a phone call for a second.
James,
I don't think I'm lagging.
Cleared for me.
Is it James? It's you? It's probably me. But I'm just saying, it's just James that I can see properly.
Well, look at you.
Days of future past, Chris, as you know.
Well, let me hop into my best stuff, worst stuff, because it kind of leads into one of Vic's.
Wait, I wasn't finished.
I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
You have to forgive Christy.
I just have one more best of that I just saw. I just finished the movie like 2 seconds ago.
Wait a minute. You went from seeing bits and pieces to having seen the entire movie?
I didn't see the entire movie. I had it like in my ear, and I kept getting phone calls, and I kept getting, you know what I mean? It was just bad. But the very end, and the reason why I say this is because it brought me back to Goldfinger, where they're in the boat, and then they're like, "Hey, James," and the girl is like, "Hey, James, they're looking for us." Mm-hmm. And then he's just like, let's just stay here right now. Let's just have a good time. Like, I just felt like that was classic Bond, and I felt like it was a great way to close.
This is the best of.
Yeah, this is one of my best. Sorry,
Sorry.
I did for not elaborating. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed how they just closed the movie out like that, because it's just like bringing it back to what the original Bond would do with the girl at the end. I don't know if this happens in every Bond movie, but
yes,
I thought that was great.
So yeah, I like that scene as well.
That's my best.
I hope you did, Chrissy. Nasty.
Get out of here. This is you guys' pick right here. This is the man.
I will say, if I can piggyback off of that a little bit, but in that final scene that you're referring to, notice that they're both on a piece of debris of a boat, and it's two of them, and they're on it. So I remember in pre-production, y'all were talking about reviewing a movie called Titanic.
Get them.
I just want to say, if you want to get a sneak peek of my recasting, because sometimes I don't just recast people but scenes. You Just saying.
Look, that's
very
because
fair. That's very
Jack was a gentleman and James Bond ain't having that.
False.
But notice how they both survived because
I
he's
think
smart.
No, I agree. That was
obviously
ridiculous.
Rose didn't love Jack at all because she let him literally freeze to death.
I am not going to fight you on that.
Any woman who loved her man would have gotten in the water sometime, let him rested, and then back and forth. Rose did not love Jack, and Jack was a simp. He was a simp.
Yes. Well, okay. Yes, I'll agree. Rose.
He was a simp.
Rose was a messy woman for that.
Way I'm freezing to death for any grown adult who says that they love me like that. It's not.
That's a murder. She's a murderer.
So's the shipmaker.
You know who else is a murderer? Santa Claus.
Oh no! Bye. Let me go into my best scene.
Santa Claus has damaged more roofs, right? On these people. Hold on, seriously. This fat man has damaged so many roofs, being on top of them. You know, gutters falling and stuff like that. The people have to go up there and try to fix it. People can't afford to fix the roof, so they go up there on their own and they fall off because they don't know what they're doing. All because of Santa Claus. Where's Big going? Why is everybody disappearing? Why is everybody disappearing on me? I'm over here trying to plead a case, man. Like Santa Claus is out of control. Santa Claus is out of control.
Yes.
All right, let's get back to this to the segment.
Vic leaving instead of doing his job is tomfoolery. You shouldn't have left. I don't know what you leave for, just because I'm telling you the truth about your Santa Claus person.
Damn loud.
All right, go ahead, C. Take it away.
All right, so my favorite scene. Well, let me start off with my least favorite scene because
it's called
as soon as I saw
it's called best of worst stuff. But go ahead,
do
whatever you want to do.
Best of worst stuff, worst stuff.
Do whatever you want to do. Invert it. Go ahead.
That's what y'all just had a whole rant about Jack and Santa Claus. I can go best of worst stuff.
You said he was a gentleman. That's a false narrative. I can't listen.
So my least favorite scene is this one, the one that Vic was just talking about. Not because it was a bad scene, but because this car just pissed me off. I looked at this car. I said, I think my grandmother has this car. And it was just like very unbond-like to me. I think it was an ugly car. It wasn't nothing sexy about this vehicle. It was I'm driving to the grocery store type of looking car. For me,
a brand new BMW, Chrissy is not
You have to understand this movie was made back in 1997.
Yeah,
right.
Okay, you have to understand. I'm watching it in 2020, and it looked like my grandma's car. So I didn't like this scene.
You know, when pre-production, y'all told me y'all were talking about we're going to review a movie called Titanic, right? It was a boat that was made back in the early 20th century. So I better hear the same crap from that. I better hear the same.
Go ahead.
What do you young whippersnappers say? Keep that same energy. That's all I want to tell you. All right.
Because this car, anybody watching this car was looking at this like, what the hell is this?
So if somebody offers you that car right now in great mint condition, you're not taking it?
No.
I would.
I've turned down cars before. I will turn down this car. No, thank you.
We're not asking about your sugar relationships, Chrissy.
No.
I'm talking about the car.
Hold on.
Not your sugar relationships. Okay?
Did anybody else
don't bring that on air? Keep that off camera. Your sugar relationships, Chrissy.
Hold up. I want to hear about these sugar relationships. Anybody hear that? Some people are offering you cars. What do they do that at?
Yeah.
And so my best of scenes.
Chrissy, here's all I want to ask about the car that you were offering. Was the steering wheel on the left side or the right hand side?
I'll let you guess.
Who are these viewers that are giving you these cars, Chrissy?
Look, let's get back to best of scenes and worst of scenes.
All right,
so
we're gonna let Ricky stay behind the scenes. All right, go ahead.
Where's Ricky at tonight, by the way? He hasn't shown up.
You should know.
No.
He just finished the show. Where's Ricky at tonight? He needs to give me another car.
Come on, can I finish my best of scenes, please?
I'm sorry, he's texting you. He's texting you as we speak. But go ahead, finish your worst stuff, best stuff. New segment.
So my best of is probably okay. I really like the opening scene. Not so much the what's that? The cold open. I did enjoy the cold open though. I did like that. But I'm talking about where they played the song and you got, the images and kind of like in Goldfinger, because you can really see the influence of that.
The theme, the movie theme?
The movie theme, yes. Okay. I like that because it was very clearly influenced by Goldfinger and the other James Bond movies. I also my favorite scene is the garage scene, because as much crap as I was talking about this.
I was going to say the testicles.
No, it's
No,
what
not this
testicles?
movie. Okay.
I didn't even see any. What were you watching? What were
No, you
watching?
said last time you loved testicles in general,
No.
or what do you mean about James Bond? Or I was
No, I said my favorite scene is the garage scene.
You said that about Goldfinger, didn't you say that? Testicles?
No, what?
You said that. You
I
said
never
one
said
of your
that was
best
my
ever
favorite
was the
scene.
testicles at the golf course.
Can we get on topic? You guys
sorry.
are just all
Get
over
on top
the
of
place.
what, Chrissy? What did you say?
So, again, like I was saying, the garage scene, because this little crap car redeemed itself.
Here we go. With the nonsense. Chrissy with the nonsense.
It was much better. It very much reminded me of the scene in Winter Soldier with Nick Fury, but he had like the crap version of the car. Like he had that really big, whatever it was, Escalade. And you thought it was going to be really like, doing everything it needed to do, but it turned out it was kind of crap. This is the exact opposite. You're looking at this car like, this car's crap. I don't want it. But it's doing everything it needed to do. It had the explosions. It had the little jack things that fell out the back and popped your tires. He was controlling it with the little Nintendo Game Boy.
Vic, your face is cracking me up right now. Your expression is.
Vic didn't get to that scene yet.
What is she talking about? Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about. Everyone's watching knows what I'm talking about.
Chrissy, are you driving a Tesla right now? What are you driving?
I'm not driving a Tesla, but this is a crappy car.
Mm.
I can have
Are you driving
opinion.
a better car than that BMW? Are you driving a better car than the BMW? Yes or no?
I believe so.
No. Not the female answer. Are you driving
First of
a better
all,
car?
you will not hijack my best
better car
and
than
worst.
the BMW?
You will not hijack my best and worst.
Steve, are you done or you have some more?
I think that's all.
All right. Do you want to go next, or should I consult?
I'll go next. I have a couple of ones that I didn't like, but I have two. Ironically, we're going back to Q with Bond in Germany. Here's why I like that scene. I always like the interplay with Llewellyn as Q with the Bonds, because again, he's always the same in that sense of that he has respect for basically the engineering and the actual gadgetry that goes into the spy work. And Bond he wants to have fun. He's like he says in this movie, there's a line. He says, "I never grew up. That's how I learned how to drive the motorcycle or ride the motorcycle." And so he's always wrecking these pieces that the citizens are paying for, whatever budget they're coming from. And Q and his team, it takes them however long to actually put these things together that in anybody else's hands, you imagine, save lives. They save the lives of informants and everything like that. But Bond is just like, I want to have fun. Let me do what I want to do, And so the interplay between those two characters, I've always loved to see it with the different actors who have portrayed Bond, because they, up until he passed away, they kept the same Q, I think it's only recently that they have the younger Q, but even that, you see the interplay between one who's like an IT specialist and Bond, who is more like grit and my own muscle and will to do it, and they spar with each other, and it's very antagonistic as compared to this one, which is almost a jovial in comparison to that one. And ironically, I said one of my best of was when Carver mocks Wei Lin with the faux martial arts. Here's why. I don't believe it's racist, because we don't see any indication that he's racist against other ethnicities, but he's mocking it because his character has no respect for that. Remember, that thuggetry, as he might call it, right? Because he has henchmen to do that. That's what he has all the time. What do I pay you for? He keeps saying it over and over and over again. So it's true to who he is, and it's true to what he would think. And you got to remember, this is made in, I think, 96, 95, Chris? Mm-hmm.
It came out in 97. Of course, it was filmed in 96.
Okay. So in 1998, you got to remember that Britain would lose the control over Hong Kong. It had been a territorial possession of Britain, and a man of Carver's age at the time of this movie would have had an imperialistic view. Even his plan is very imperialistic, that he can write whatever history he wants for the world and have control over it. So it's in keeping with his character. I just didn't find it that he was mocking Chinese people or Asians, if we're going to say that, just that you think you're going to stop me doing this martial arts. As he says, it's pathetic. it's not going to work because, for instance, you're caught. Some of the things that I didn't like, I didn't like the scene when we get Terry Hatcher. And if I could just say Terry Hatcher as one of the worst of, I would just put that there. So let me just put that in parentheses, Terry Hatcher. But I didn't like when she saw Bond, she slapped him and thought that she had a right to slap him. Because clearly it's shown that she knew that Bond was an agent. Clearly she knew what was what when they had whatever relationship or encounter way back when. Why does she think she has the right to put her hands on him in a violent way? I never liked that in movies. I always think that's a cheap gimmick. And I don't like that they have this lopsided view of domestic abuse. That's never sat right with me. I don't think it's funny when women slap men. I don't think it's justifiable. You know, keep your hands to yourself. If you can't communicate with your words, then you need to go back to school, right? Or have a guardian watch over you because you clearly aren't mature. So I just didn't like that. And also, let me say this: the Dr. Kaufman scene, it kind of took me out of the movie because it was so goofy and over the top, and the accent was so weird for me. I thought I was watching a Monty Python movie for a second. It was just goof central to me. And the last worst of was when one of my co-hosts said that a BMW, brand new, was a grandpa or grandma car. I thought that was crazy, and I wrote that as my worst.
I mean, hey, man, the children, you know.
No, it is definitely giving me grandma vibes. I'm sorry
you can't
if you disagree.
You can't please all the children. Like,
no.
That's all. They you know, at the end of the day, you just put Casper on for them and they'll fall asleep.
I gave Casper a thumbs down. Next.
All right, so let me go ahead with this is going to be a little bit long, but I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible. For me, it was the car for me. This is definitely one of my best scenes, simply because of the fact the banter back and forth between Q. What's going on, Malik? Between Q and James Bond, I thought was really, really well timed in this movie, and you would never guess it was their second movie together. Even they had seen the first movie, like they would, but if you really look at really pay attention to it, right? Their scene in the first movie in GoldenEye was really, really fun. It was really entertaining. But if you really time it, it was only like a 3-minute scene. This right here was a little bit less than it was in GoldenEye, in my opinion. But they two just seem so natural. So I thought that worked very well together. But if you really want to talk about my favorite scenes, I want to do that because Chrissy was hating it, and I can't stand when Chrissy's hating. So I got to talk about that. That was a good scene. I thought Elliot Carver was very good in this movie. I think he had a lot of lines, which you're going to hear a lot from me in quotables. And I just loved it. I some notable scenes. I loved the ending scene completely. When I mean the ending scene, I mean from when Maylene got caught, or whatever her name is. I can't remember her name right now, but when she got caught, and James Bond swung over to the other side. I love that. And that whole last fight scene, I thought was a really good fight scene because of the dramatics of it and the music of it. I thought was very good. It was just a classic action movie. Fight, fight, fight. James Bond is losing. He gets out. Person gets blown up. He swims over, saves the girl, kisses the girl, goes up into the thing. They go and do the bad foot or whatever the hell they called it before. I thought it was really, really good. Really, really entertaining. So I definitely love that scene. I love the scene with this is also going to go into my quotables. I love the scene when they were being chased by the helicopter. And the reason why I love that scene is pretty much the end of that. And what I mean by the end of that is James Bond and her got caught, trapped, so to speak. And she even said it. She said trapped. James Bond looking as cool as only James Bond looks is never. I say that all the time when somebody's playing me in a video game and they think they're about to beat me. No, it's not happening. It was so good. I love it. Was just smooth. It was slick, and he just goes and he takes care of business. That's what James Bond does. So I had to give credit to that scene. I also like the banter back and forth between James Bond and Elliot when they were in the Carver Elliot News Media building when he was explaining his plan. I loved it when they first met. There's Ricky right there. I loved him when they first met and he was being introduced and he was having them subtle little things like, hey, you know, mofo, I know what you did last summer. I know what you did with that boat. I thought that was very, very well done. So I like that as well. Those are just some of the scenes that I liked because, I said a lot because like I said, I just really love this movie. If you go with worst scenes for me, I have to mention the thing that James said. that scene. And here's the reason why I said it. It's not for the same reason James said, because I understand why she slapped him. You know, she got pregnant and he left, and he was the pops, and she couldn't find him. So, you know, people want to get upset with that. So, you know,
wait, is that what happened for real?
No. But if it were to happen, he wouldn't have known. You know what I'm saying? You just you didn't check, you didn't Facebook, or in that case, you didn't Black Planet. So I was a little.
What if he kissed her and wiped her memory, and then just went to his planet that he knew was already destroyed?
I wish I could wipe my memory from that comment, James. But I didn't like that scene. And the real reason why I didn't like that scene is because if you look at the initial first reaction of them, it's one scene. Then if you look at it when Mr. Gupta looks at it in the video, it was completely different, and it was noticeably different, and that bothered me. You know, so it was just a little quirk for me. I also wasn't a big fan of when they both of them were in the submarine down the ocean. It just seems like a waste of time to me. I mean, I understand they had to find out that the missile was stolen, but it was just a waste of time for me. So I no, it did not. But
it came out for like another 6 years.
Correct. Came out in 2005, if I remember correctly. Maybe 4. So that's pretty much it for my worst scenes and best scenes. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about quotables as well as our recasted. Thank you so much for watching us. Please make sure you stay with us. We'll be right back after this brief commercial messages. And I was thinking about mess because when we come back, we're already going to get some recasted mess from C to Superior because she knows how she goes. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned.
Daniel wants us to get back to wrestling. Omega versus Moxley will be better than. All right, we're going to get to this comment in a second because somebody ended up saying something really dumb on social media, which we'll get to after we're done with Raw, which was Moxley versus Omega is going to be the modern day Rock versus Stone Cold. We're going to get to this in about 5 minutes because it's the most complete nonsense anybody's ever said. Hold on, I'm being distracted by something. Hold on.
That's
What's that, Mia? What's that? Avenge you? You got it, baby.
That?
I got
Steven,
you.
here's a nice tall glass of shut.
Danny, Joey, Steve. Who was Steve? There was a Steve on the show. Was there a Steve?
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyways.
How did he die? No contact? Not well. You needn't worry. The second is... Yes. Consider...
Gentlemen,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unpopular Review Entertainment Edition. Over here talking about Tomorrow Never Dies. We're looking at and talking to, hopefully, M, E, Q, and C. Decided to make everybody have one letter because it worked out better. So next week, of course, we're going to be reviewing Casino Royale as we continue this James Bond, coming down to the nitty gritty. But now we're going to go ahead and finish talking about Tomorrow Never Dies, and we're going to go over to the next scene, which is quotables. And does anybody want to volunteer to go first?
I will.
The background noise? Okay.
I will. You hear me? You hear me? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
So one quote that I thought was really, really funny came from Moneypenny.
Mm-hmm.
You are always a cunning linguist, James. Mm-hmm. I had to rewind that and be like, hold on, what did you say?
And a lot of double entendres in this movie.
Yes. And I thought that this Moneypenny was very, very flirty. Like even more flirty than Sean Connery's Moneypenny. Like, wow. You know what I mean? And that
She
was
wanted it bad.
She certainly did. And then the other one that I really, really liked was from Elliot. The distance between insanity and genius is measured only.
Oh!
See? You should have went first.
Come on, Magneto. Come on. You thought I'd do that?
Come on. That's classic, Chris.
Of course.
That's classic, Chris.
Come on.
Look, I told you Vic is the real thief of the show. He always stealing somebody's stuff.
There's a whole bunch of quotes in this movie that I know you have in your lexicon, right?
What again?
So you're good. You're good. I'm done.
Tobias from Black Lightning was
that's my favorite one.
Word up.
I don't think he realizes this.
I gotta keep that shirt around for Saturday.
That was my favorite one. That like I say that all the time.
That's the best quote in the movie.
So would you like to go next, Chris? Because he stole one of your
Why don't you just talk about it and say what you liked about it?
I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. When you think about it, when you get to, I'm gonna be like James. You know how James always like deep dives everything, where you just see one little thing and you think it's just this simple, and then you talk to James and you realize there's a whole book behind it that he wrote. That's how I feel about this. That's how I feel about this quote, right? The distance between.
I'm not a writer, Chris. I'm not a writer.
I heard that. I heard that somewhere. The distance between insanity.
Yo.
Okay, the distance between insanity and
I thought I was a writer, but apparently I'm not a writer, and I just didn't want you to spread false information about me or my ability.
Spicy. It's too spicy for you too.
Because here you go again. He's on again. Because the distance between insanity and success, the distance between insanity and genius is measured only by success. That's real. Because how many people do you know in history when they made a creation or idea and they said, you are nuts, you out of your mind, you won't be able to pull it off. But then because they do it, you're a genius. I can go even simpler for all you idiots. So if you're a football, if you watch football, right? It's a fourth down, and you're going for it, right? Even though people say you should go for a field goal, but you want the end zone, you want the touchdowns, 4th and 2. Mm-hmm. Don't go for it. You're never going to make it. The coach says, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go for it. If he makes it, he's a genius. He's the greatest coach ever lived. Mm-hmm. If you don't make it, fire him. He's nuts. He don't belong on the team. It's all simplified by that. I love it. It defines my life every day. People always call me crazy and think I do the dumbest crap until I succeed and I turn around and I remind them, I'm Chris. And then they realize I'm a genius. It's great. I love it. I love that quote. Vic, I love it. I'm upset with you for stealing it. And now I'm starting to question.
Can I just back up what you just said? Because that is true. Chris does apply that. I've never heard him exactly say it like that, but he does apply that. And I know, for instance, because you know, Chris and I went to high school together. I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. I was in Ohio. Chris was in DC, but still hating on it. And then when I saw him again, he was surrounded by what I would call a cadre of crazies, but he called it his brotherhood of mutants. And wouldn't you know, he threw mute on, and he was able to shape them into a cohesive bunch who would listen to his beck and call. And even to this day, if Chris were to call, they would hear the summons and they would show up and they were still there. Without him, they lose cohesion. But again, he is Magneto and he is able to bring all these elements together. So Chris, you're right again, and I have to give you kudos.
If you're referring to the dynasty, don't ever refer them to the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Wait, I didn't use no names, Chris.
All right, I'm just making sure. You do not call the dynasty the Brotherhood of Mutants. These are people.
They're the Lost Boys, and he's Peter Pan.
I think you used to call them that too. Wow. Did you? No. Did you used to? First of all, Chris, not boy. Second of all, I think. Did you call them that before?
I have, because I'm a big Peter Pan fan, so I'm probably
I think you have. I think you used to call them that. I couldn't stand when you did that. All right, so see, go ahead with your quotables.
Okay, I just have two. So my favorite one is probably going to be it was close to the end of the movie, and it's when James Bond was just about to give it to Elliot, and you know, end him before. Are you dirty minded? And
I was confused by what you just said.
So he says, "You forgot the first rule of mass media, Mr. Elliot. Give the people what they want." And then that was the end of that.
And then I like it because Elliot, he just sat there while the drill was still clearly far enough away that it wasn't touching him. He didn't try and send me out of there.
This is why Austin Powers was so good.
He just took it. He took that drill.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did.
But
that's what she said. So my next quote is going to be there's no news like bad news. You got the news, you got the media, very big influence in this movie. It's a reoccurring theme. So I thought that was another good quote.
Yeah. This was
I'm just
definitely
going to jump in
Donald
here
Trump, Donald Trump's arch enemy.
Don't talk about the He's the Don't talk about him like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a quote that he said.
Fake news.
Anyway, I have 2 quotes, and ironically, because Vic mentioned the one with Moneypenny, I call her Thirsty Penny in this movie.
Right.
And hopefully she gets tested because she looks like she's running through every pool there is. Okay, no, I'm serious. James, test yourself. You should get tested too. But
He should have got tested a long time ago.
I don't know, but she was looking like she needed a glass of water because she was very thirsty in this movie. Okay, begging for it. But when they're in the when M is talking to the Admiral, and the Admiral goes, and this, oh, by the way, we should say in this movie, M is played by Dame Judi Dench.
The same lady. I'm sorry, that was very confusing for me when I saw it. It's like, how did they keep the same woman, but everyone else has changed?
What are you talking about, Chrissy?
M was the same lady in the James Bond movie, the other James Bond movie.
You talking about the ones with Daniel Craig?
Yeah.
That's because this movie was made before the other ones. What do you mean?
I know, but they changed everyone else. Like Moneypenny is a completely different woman.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I've only really seen.
I think because Judi Dench she's very popular as M, and they decided to keep her. The Pierce Brosnan, and Chris, you correct me if I'm wrong. Pierce Brosnan, he came so much after the last movie, which was like in 85, 86 or something like that, that it was almost like a revamp of the Bond film franchise. So Pierce Brosnan was that. And originally when they did Casino Royale, they were going to bring Pierce Brosnan back, but I don't know what the holdup was, why that didn't work. So they decided to carry somebody over from the last generation that would still be popular and be reminiscent for the fans, the returning fans, but they added new elements for the new series that they were creating. That's why when you watch the Craig films, there are nods to the other films, obviously being named, 007, but he is supposed to have been the only time there was a 007 named James Bond.
Okay, so does that mean Moneypenny is an agent name too, like 007? Because this Moneypenny is different.
No, M is a hereditary title given to the head of MI6, and it stands for Mycroft, in fictitiously Mycroft Holmes, but in reality, it's in honor of the first one, and he was around like in the 19 teens, and he would sign his letters M because the first letter of his name was M. Mm-hmm. And it just became a title that they kept, being a British tradition. That's where it comes from. Moneypenny is her name, Miss Moneypenny.
Okay. Okay. We'll talk about it in the next one because I have some thoughts. But continue, please.
They effing had Moneypenny cast as a foxy black chick. That's not racist. Latest series, and then killed her. Such a shame.
What?
Moneypenny? They killed her?
I don't remember her dying.
I don't remember.
Maybe he's seen the newest one already. He saw the.
No, Steven. Steven sniffing some of the latest stuff from
Flatbush or something. That pearl. that booger sugar. Steve, you on that Miami?
Flagged.
Huh? You on that Miami special? You got that Black Friday?
Miami special. You hear that? Yo, that's crazy.
All right, let me go. If Steve is done talking about his fish scale, I'm going to give my 2 quotes for this film. I thought the one that Miss Moneypenny did, it was too on the nose. You know what I mean? It was too over the top. It was very it wasn't sophisticated, right, for me. But I liked M's interplay with the Admiral, and here it goes. Okay, this is the Admiral starting off. With all due respect, M, sometimes I think you don't have the balls for this job. And she retorts, perhaps, but the advantage is I don't always have to think with them.
Yeah.
And I like that. You know what I mean? Because I like when people have disagreements and they can play tennis.
Mm-hmm.
They did not.
They did.
Steve, when you watch a trailer for a movie, they actually show you sometimes who's in that movie. If you remember, they actually had her voice in the next trailer.
Sorry, I don't understand.
They had a voice in the next trailer after that. Steve, stay off that white. Stay off that white. All right. Anyway, my second quote for this film is this. And this is when they're driving away in what Chrissy calls a trashy looking car.
Yes.
Your job
it's
is,
it's
I'm
grandma.
talking to Bond. Your job is to find out whether Carver or someone in his organization set that ship off course and why. Use your relationship with Mrs. Carver if necessary, right? I love it because it's very spy-esque, and I love that, okay? Bond goes, I doubt if she'll remember me. And then M goes, remind her and pump her for information. Again, it's a little tease of do what you have to do to get the job done. I just told you your mission. Stop making excuses. Get it done. And I love how Judi Dench is like that with M. And it's reminiscent of the M that we've been seeing, who was a no-nonsense guy. And that's almost what we start to see with Ralph Fiennes when he comes on as M at the end of Skyfall. According to Steve, that's where Moneypenny dies.
I will say, with the quote you gave about him having, do what you have to do to even sleep with that woman, pretty much what it was. Chris gave an approving nod of the head, even though in Austin Powers, the spy who shagged me, he slut shamed what's her name as an agent, even though she was just doing what she had to do. I just wanted that to be noted for our viewers.
Chrissy is hitting you with some hypocrisy. Did you slut shame Heather Graham's character?
Even though she was just doing her job.
No, she wasn't. Let me tell you what happened. She slept with 3 people in that movie. 3 people, right? 3 people.
He was upset because she had a threesome with old Powers and new Powers. That's why he's upset.
It was 10 minutes. And I mean, even though James Bond technically slept with 3 people in this movie, it's totally different because one person died.
Okay. Next.
I give this round to Chrissy. I think she caught you in hypocrisy, Chris.
She didn't catch me. She did not catch me.
Okay. Let the viewers decide.
All right, Shaggy. It wasn't me.
You know why she didn't catch me? Because James Bond's not in a relationship. And she looked like she wanted to be in a relationship. Not to mention the fact that
she looked like she wanted to be in a relationship.
She was hitting on Austin Powers from the opening credits. So I don't want to hear anything.
James Bond hits on everyone from the opening credits. Does he want to be in a relationship?
So does
you know what, Chris? I hate
to
do this. Even though I think you pulled this out of the air last minute, if in fact Felicity is trying to get in a relationship with Austin, I kind of give it to you. But Chris still has the upper hand in that she did tell him, listen, I'm giving you a heads up. I had to do this for the job. You knew what it was. I'm a CIA agent.
Look, if she really cared, she would have gave him the heads up before she did that. That's a heads up. She would have told him before.
She can't disclose her spy work, man. That'll be against the rules of the job. She can't go around telling everybody what her
classified
mission
information. Then she shouldn't have told him after. She shouldn't have told him after.
The mission was complete.
No, instead she said, look, this paddle only has room for 1. That's what she said, and let Austin freeze to death out there in the loneliness of cold
Let's
water.
get back to the movie at hand, guys.
You're on your quotes.
Tomorrow never die. I already did my quotes.
All right, let me get my quotes.
Hold on, Chris. Wait, my last quote is. Jack, are you cold?
Look, when we get to that movie, you guys are going to be a mess.
I'm going to tear that movie up. So,
and listen. When she thought that Jack was still alive, here's how much she hated him. She barely blew into the whistle. She was like,
her lungs were partially frozen. We are here to talk about Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm not sure if the audience knows this.
Rose on that big door was Rose on that mahogany door. Was she cold?
Oh. So I'm glad Victor.
Jack literally jumped into the ocean, almost got his hand chopped off.
All right.
Protocols.
All right, dude. So here's I'm telling you, I'm glad Victor is still. All right. God, if I can remember. Oh yeah. So Chrissy, I'm sorry. Because it's going to sound like a woman bash. And all the viewers, I swear, I'm not going to woman bash. I'm not going to woman bash.
That's what the show is. Welcome to
No.
Here comes the victim violin.
I swear to goodness, right? But Lois Lane, right? After she goes and she cheats on her husband, right? She comes back. Right? And Ellie, he's upset. He probably already knows what's going on because he's already he has an idea. But he's like, all right, I'm upset because the power got cut off on my inaugural broadcast, which I also was one of my favorite scenes. I forgot to talk about that. And then he's questioning her, and she's acting like she don't know what's going on, right? Typical woman crap, right? She acts like she don't know what's going on. You know, hey, you know, he's just my friend's brother, cousin, nephew, you know, play uncle. You know, that's what. Yeah,
I don't know.
Don't roll your eyes. You know that's what y'all do, right? I'm still putting my clothes on, while I'm talking to you, but it's fine, right? So he, oh no, actually this is before, but she knew what she was doing. So she covered for him. She knew he was a spy. James alluded to this earlier. She knew he was a spy. She knew he was investigating her husband, but she's still helping him out, right? She's still helping. She's still covering for the guy. So. This line comes up. It's also a line I use almost every day, like I do the distance between insanity and genius. It's the key to any great mystery is not who, what, when, or where, but why. Right? Yeah. If you do not understand something that's going on, you can ask why. If you find out that reason why, any other question you have, you probably can get the answer to. So that was very important to me. And that's how I solved a lot of questions that I might have. Why? Why did this happen? Right? Why do women lie when they're cheating? I don't understand. Yeah, I'm sounding a little bitter. It's the truth. I don't understand. Why do women lie when they're cheating? And then go around and blame men for it like it's their fault. Well, y'all do that. I mean, y'all do the same thing. Yeah. Like it's a human trait, right? All right. So anyway, I already mentioned the traps. Never. Vic mentioned the insanity thing. And it was just a lot of great ones. That's all I can remember. Like I said, James Bond and Elliot Carver had a lot of good banter back and forth. I'm so glad that James mentioned then pump her for information. I thought that was really good because she just like James said, the no nonsense. Like, look, I know I was told, Queen and Country, I was told that you had a relationship with Elliot Carver's wife. Yeah. I need you to do this business. That's it. There's nothing else. We're cutting out everything in the middle. I need this business done. Do what you got to do to get the job done. So I love that about it. Like I said, it was just this movie was just full of quotes. Elliot Carver is probably one of the most underrated James Bond villains. Just say what.
The acoustics in that whatever part that was fantastic because he was able to hear exactly what his wife said over all the other voices.
They were cleaning up the audio. Gupta says I had to clear up the audio.
And what year was this made?
It was really good.
What year was this made again?
97.
He was clearing up the audio that precisely in 1996. Okay. Next segment.
That was doable back then.
Yeah, why?
Not to that extent. I'm sorry.
I love the little one-liners Pierce Brosnan drops sometimes, like when he put the guy, the random red shirt number 14 into the printing thing, and then the blood started printing on the pages. So he was like, "They'll print anything these days." I don't know why. I thought it was funny. So I got to give some credit for that.
He reminded me. And also, looking back on again, because Pierce Brosnan was my era of going to the movies, watching Bond. It's very Roger Moore.
I think he was a good combination between Roger and Sean Connery a little bit. So I have to give credit. And also like him telling Ellie Carver telling that one woman, he was like, "What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. You're fired. Get off my site." I loved it. Yeah. Also, James mentioned this earlier. When he's on the boat, the stealth boat, and Maylene's just, monkey barring, flipping over everything, and the guy's playing Galaga. And then and he was like, "What the hell do I pay you for?" He just grabs the person's hand. It's like, if she's there, Bond's there. Like, come on. Like,
I will give him credit.
Like that
was on point of what was going on and who was where and what they should be doing. I will say that he was on top of his game.
Yeah. Shout out to that guy. Shout out to the Pope. All right, let's go ahead and get into our next stuff we got going on, which is none other than Recasted. And I'm really interested in hearing and seeing some of these. And does anybody want to go first or am I?
Now, Chris, I want to keep mine a surprise from you. So I'll go second to last. Vic, do not use any of my pictures. I don't care if you don't have any pictures. Don't use my pictures.
I'll go first because I really don't have any, but I like to stay faithful to this segment. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I recast Mr. Gupta, who's not here. Oh, that's right.
He's here because I'm recasting it.
Where's he at? Where's he at? Can you put him
You
up
say
there?
Doctor? Hold on.
No, Mr. Gupta.
Oh, then no, not here. I don't know.
Yes, he is.
Oh,
He's one of mine.
also,
Did somebody take my pictures out?
Nope.
also,
Because he was up there.
Also, I want to say that I did forget.
Chris didn't upload.
This was just an ironic thing. I did forget one ironic thing. So the beginning scene where James Bond was over there, during the terrorist supermarket party, somebody was lighting up a cigarette. He gave him a light. Then he hit him. He said, "Filthy habit." I thought that was really good. I use that a lot of times when people are doing something. It's a filthy habit. It is, because smoking cigarettes is a filthy habit. But also, it's ironic because the very first time you saw James Bond on the main screen, he was smoking a cigarette. So that was a nod there. But Mr. Gupta, right?
I liked it.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I liked it because it's showing you the change of times between what was socially acceptable in the 60s versus what was socially acceptable in the 90s.
And it's so funny you mentioned that, because I'm going to put this guy down, because James also mentioned, and we're going overtime, and I apologize, but James also mentioned how he was upset at I won't say reverse domestic abuse, because domestic abuse is domestic abuse, but where Lois Lane hit James Bond, slapped him, right? And it's just funny, the change of times. James mentioned the change of times, because if that was Sean Connery,
yes.
Oh man,
yeah, exactly. She would have got equality in the 60s. She would have got equality.
If I still had Ike Turner as a recasted up here, or I agree, he might have got put up there. But instead of recasting that guy, I'm going to recast this guy. And let's go ahead and put it back up here. This is the only guy. And honestly, I didn't think that in this scene. That reminds me of another scene. So when this dude got killed, right? Elliot Carver was like, "See, Mr." It was funny how he killed him. Fun fact: he was actually supposed to have a closing line to talk about. He was going to have a closing soliloquy to talk about, and in the movie, Jonathan Pryce just ended up shooting him, right? And they were like, "He was supposed to talk. Why do you do it?" He said, "I didn't like what he was going to say, so I just shot him." So he just died all the way. It was really funny. So it was that. Also, Mr. Gupta only said one line that I can remember. He said, "Ready to rock and ruin." I use that sometimes. But anyway, he was the most unmemorable character, for lack of a better phrase, of anything. So I gave him this guy. And you might remember him. Yeah, you might remember him from some movies like this, right? But the reason how come he's this is because this guy is slightly bigger, right here. So I had to find something a little bit more round, and that was who I found. So that's the only person I would recast. He actually didn't do a bad job. So that's my recast. Right. So now y'all can go ahead.
Hey, Chris, I know you're doing Recaster for Tomorrow Never Dies, but Mattoon wants to know how your Thanksgiving was. Why are y'all laughing? Was it good or no?
It was good. It was good.
Ricky just said, "Chris, where are you going, buddy? Why'd you disappear?" Ricky just says, "No, I'm not sure what he's talking about." And then Charmaine says hello, not to Chrissy in particular. So I'll say hello, Charmaine. How are you doing?
Charmaine. All right, I'll go with my recaster because y'all on that tomfoolery already. Okay.
What is so funny, guys?
So let's see. My
call me by
recaster.
surprise. That's all.
You guys are the best. My recaster is going to go for to Dr. What's his name? Kaufman. When I saw him, I said, I think I've seen this guy before, but like in a different movie, like someone who I think could play this character. And I said, hold on, I know who can do it. This guy right here. It'll be much better at the job too. Leon
the professional.
Yes. He would have got the job done. There will be no more James Bond because he would have made it happen. That would be my first recast.
Can I add another quote? I'm just wait.
Sure, Mattoon. Go ahead. Sure, Mattoon. Go ahead.
Wait. I'm just a professional doing a job.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Me too.
Yeah. That was a good one. I have that one written down too.
All right. So now this extra long. I originally wasn't going to recast this character. Oh, it won't let me upload it. So I guess I won't. Never mind. Who's next?
I will go before Vic does because Vic likes to take my.
Vic said he didn't have any.
Oh, good. That's right. Vic is halfway through the movie.
Oh, he has one now. He has one now. Okay, go ahead.
Don't use my pictures, Vic. Don't do it.
I'll go ahead. All right. So the first person that I think should be recasted, because truth be told, I think she's a better actor, is this one. The thing is that like this lady, she's known more for her fighting, especially with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
I knew she was on that movie. I was thinking when I was watching.
And I feel like this person would have played that role a little bit better. I think that her acting is a little bit better. I just like Lucy Liu from Charlie's Angels and all of that. But I think
beautiful woman.
Like as a Bond girl, I think it would have worked better. So
I don't disagree with you. I think her English is a little bit better, and I think for the sake of this movie, mostly based out of China, that it will make more sense to go with.
I'm sorry, Chris. Can you just say that again? You said you think Lucy Liu, the American's English is better than the Chinese actress's English. Did you just say that with a straight face?
Yes, that's why I'm saying that she should not have been.
No, but you couched it as I think it's a little bit better, meaning almost as if Lucy doesn't speak English. What are you saying, Chris?
I'm saying it's better for the role in the movie for somebody who does not speak English as well. Is what I'm saying. That one was a joke. That's what I'm saying. I even though I agree with what you're saying for the criteria you're putting out there, I agree with you completely, Vic. But I think that's what they were going for. But I still think it's a great recasting. I do.
All right.
For my other recasted,
I see Tom Foolery.
Now he has multiple.
The villain.
I see Tom Foolery coming. Let me get the button ready.
Like, he just made me think of a lot of people, right? So originally, the first person that
don't you steal my mind
was Baxter Stockman.
I'll give you that one.
Who's that?
Nice callback. Nice callback. Chrissy has no idea who that is. Children of the 80s know. We know.
She does not.
Who is it?
Really reminded me of
Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Now, the other person that he reminded me of. Hang on a second. Hang on 1 second.
Hold on, you're gonna take mine. I know it.
Get intense to upload. Oh man,
upload your pictures.
I know you're gonna take mine because I was about to recast him, but I was like the image didn't upload. So let's see.
So now another person that he reminded me of, and I feel like it would make a lot of sense if he actually did play this role, was this guy right here.
Oh, okay.
Because they're
on the same wavelength.
Yeah, they definitely are on the same wavelength. They probably got the same amount of money. And if this guy was a bad guy, he could do some real big damage. Shout out to Microsoft. And the last guy that I think would be perfect just to be this guy is this guy. It's the worst guy in America. So I think that this guy would be the best Bond villain because he is America's Bond villain. And yes, that is
not those recasted. Actually, I was. Oh, go ahead.
That is not tomfoolery, Chris. That is fact.
I agree. The great recasting. I was thinking about recasting the villain as Steve Jobs. So I was like, okay, we were on the same.
I thought you were going to say that you like Baxter Stockman.
I have no idea who that is.
I don't. That's the joke between us. Well, as Chrissy said, because she looked at my pictures, clearly this movie, Carver and Gupta, who's Indian, but in this movie he's, I guess, a Caucasian man. But nobody's calling that racist, ironically. Anyway, let me move on from the new age thinking. But clearly they're supposed to be Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. How nobody got that, I don't know. But of course, I have to save the day. This is Carver.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is Gupta. Okay? Who do they look
Golly!
Like? That's who they're supposed to be. The inventors and creators and marketers of Apple. Obviously, that's who they are. Okay? And one of them is a very wealthy man. Now, I had some other ones that I just wanted to highlight too. I mentioned him earlier. It's the Admiral. He's talking to M. He's kind of flipping.
That reminds me of another quote. All right. It was the beginning.
Go ahead.
No.
It was in the beginning when he was talking to a wall of people.
Speak.
We was talking to the wall of people.
We are overtime.
And he was like, the software is made, and as you requested, it's full of bugs, so people will be having to force to upgrade for years to come.
They're literally talking about Apple.
They're literally talking about Apple because that's what you Apple people do. Go ahead.
Let me just also say, since he asked, I'm having a great Thanksgiving. But I want to highlight the Admiral. This guy right here. And then there was also this guy. At first I called him the bald man, but he has a name. He's the Minister of Defense. So the Admiral and Minister of Defense, they're talking. And I kept saying to myself, well, this guy, he looks very familiar to me. Who does he look like? Sam Eagle. That's what he looked like to me. But then I thought to myself, I can't leave Homeboy out. I can't leave the Admiral out. At first I was going to say Rent. That's who I thought it was.
Yes.
But then I realized it was Waldorf and Stantler. Okay? I said, nailed it. Okay? That's from the Office Show for you younger millennials. I want to give a special shout out to the Halo instructor. That's the black man right there. The other two are Caucasian, so you don't get confused. But the black man there, you might remember him from a movie we covered before. He's the general in The Fifth Element. But most of you may recognize him from the Do you know who that is?
No.
He's the gunnery sergeant from Aliens, the James Cameron film. Another James Cameron film is Titanic. Chris was scoffing at that one, but people seem to like this one, Aliens, 1986, the sequel to Alien, 1978. A special shout out to that, Mr. Al Matthews. I wanted to mention Dr. Kaufman because I mentioned him before, the goofiness of that scene. I'm just going to pull up the picture. Here he is right here. He's very menacing. You can see it in his face. See what I mean? I was so scared watching that. But I thought to myself, man, this dude looks familiar. You know who he looks like? No, not Leon the Professional. He looks like the man that said, "Get off my train" from Ghost, 1989. Why? Because it's him. It's Vincent Schiavelli. That's when I first saw him in Ghost. We will be coming back to that one. And in this one, he says, "Get off my train." But listen, I know people like Chris liked Elliot Carver. He wanted to know what happened after he got that tip drill. Well, he became the High Sparrow. That's him right there.
That really is him.
That's Vincent Price's High Sparrow. Game of Thrones watchers, you recognize the High Sparrow. But I couldn't leave his man Gupta out. Gupta was shot in the chest. We thought he bit it, but no. In the future, they have technology and they brought him back. He's the Telluride ambassador, Grawl. Here he is, right there, Gupta. What are you talking about? That's not the same guy, Chrissy. Why are you shaking your head? No,
I don't know who that other guy is.
Look, he's I just told you he's the Telluride ambassador.
From where?
From Star Trek.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I gotta explain everything. Anyway, that's Gupta. He's safe, and so is the High Sparrow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is
what's funny about those two?
Unfoolery.
The funny thing is that like when I saw them, they reminded me of these two.
Who, Gupta and Elliot?
I don't know if it's just the guy in the chair thing, but they really, those are the first two people that I thought of when I saw that.
Is it because of all the feminine energy in that picture?
Possibly.
Goodness gracious. Where is it? Tomfoolery. All right, guys. That was recasted.
That was my recap.
Going into a commercial break. Stay tuned for what we're reviewing later in the week.
I used to be a big fan of this guy in the 90s too. I thought he was an underrated actor. Who did some things. So this guy, he shout out to him. I almost put him as a favorite scene, but I didn't want to because of what he was doing, if that makes sense. But he was just like King Crap. All right, King Crap. So I was like, who else played a King Crap in a movie? That look. And it was.
I don't want to laugh at that, but yeah. Okay.
Because of what he did, this man.
I see it.
Wait, isn't that the everyday anime scene?
Yeah, that's I turned up.
When they're in the studio. Chris has no chill on this show. I want you to know that, okay?
All right, and we are back.
It's Christmas Eve in LA. He's an easy guy to like.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
And a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis. Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay.
All right, we're back.
I love how persuaded
We're back.
to start the next one.
Have you ever tried to press the button and you think it's working and it didn't work?
That was not what happened. I know what happened here.
That's what happened. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Unpopular Review, Entertainment Edition. Make sure that you tune into us this Thursday coming as we do Die Hard, our first of our Christmas movie special. And then, of course, next Tuesday, back to James Bond. We're going to be talking about Casino Royale, which I think was Chrissy's pick.
My
right?
pick. Finally to the best Bond. It's like
that won't be superficial at all. That won't be superficial at all.
How do you know what my thoughts are? Okay,
because you make them clear every episode. Testicles.
Because what? He's a great.
You just had a man put a gun in another man's mouth. We know how you get down, Chrissy. We know
how you get down, Honey Rider. Honey Rider in the desert. So
her name was Pussy Galore, Chrissy.
Okay. So my final thoughts about this movie. Things that I liked. I like that they kept like the brassy music that's really like synonymous with Bond. I like that about the movie. I liked that again that you can see the clear influence of Goldfinger. Probably some other James Bond movies before, but again, I've only ever seen the ones we reviewed and Daniel Craig ones. I enjoyed the action in this movie. I thought the action was really well done. I like the gadgetry. That's something that we didn't get so much of in the movies that we've reviewed in Bond before, probably in other ones, but not the ones that I saw as much as they were in this movie. So with that being said, this one isn't my favorite Bond, but it was still a good movie. I'll give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up from me. Wonderful. Adios.
Okay, so the first time I saw this movie was playing the PlayStation 1 game, and the so like there were certain scenes that I had remembered from the game itself. And when I finally saw the movie, at least when I finally, because of the group, I at least started finally watching Bond movies because it was just wasn't something I was really into outside of the video games. I really enjoy it. And like I said last time, I regret not watching all of this. And to tell you the truth, like it was a little confusing because there's just a lot that I don't know. I didn't realize this was the second movie of Pierce Brosnan. There's a certain parts where I was just like, wait a minute, these characters know each other. I thought that this was the first movie. I thought that this was the movie that introduces him as Bond, but I was wrong. But in any event, it was still a good movie. I definitely give it a thumbs up. I want to educate myself more on Bond and what's going on there. Okay, all right, fine, I'll shut up. Thumbs up.
Right, he's real happy with those thumbs up.
All right, well, let me just say this. Listen, I grew up in the Brosnan era. What is it? GoldenEye was the first movie that I saw, the first Bond movie, rather, that I saw in the movie theater. And then I saw the subsequent ones and everything like that. And I liked them because I had no point of reference, right? The Timothy Dalton ones would come on sometimes on TNT, and I would watch them. And of course, I grew up watching on Saturdays the Roger Moore movies, as Chris always likes to laugh. I like Moonraker. I grew up watching that all the time, so it had a feel. It's almost like I don't know, picking a random movie. Like if I grew up watching Casper, I would think it was good, but then when I watch it again, it's terrible, right? So that's how I felt about Moonraker. Well, here's the problem. We've been watching Dr. No. We've seen Goldfinger. And then in my adult years, we have Casino Royale with Daniel Craig. We have Skyfall. We have Quantum of Solace, right? We have Spectre. And now that I'm older, I like the more subdued, I like the troubled spy. I really like what Sean Connery did. And really, the only other one that I think compares to that is Daniel Craig. Does that make the movie bad? No. It just means that I don't prefer it. So I give it a thumbs up, not because I'm ecstatic about it, but because it wasn't a bad movie. But compared to the other ones in the genre, in the film series, I just don't personally like it as much. And that's the only bad that I can really say about it. So thumbs up for me.
Four thumbs up. Nice.
All right, so I want to keep this really short and sweet because I've pretty much said everything I need to say about this movie. Right? It's got 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb.com. James Bond and the Pierce Brosnan era had 4 movies. It had GoldenEye, it had Tomorrow Never Dies, it had The World's Not Enough, and then it had Die Another Day. This was my favorite. It's a notch above GoldenEye to me. Not saying it's so much better than GoldenEye, but it's a notch above GoldenEye to me. The reason I like this movie is, one, James knows more than anybody. I'm a big fan of movie quotes, and I just hate so many from this movie. I think Jonathan Pryce killed in this role, and I think Pierce Brosnan was hitting on all cylinders. I completely respect and understand James's choice when it comes to why he gave it a thumbs up, but it wasn't the best for him. I completely understand. I can see how somebody might prefer Daniel Craig's version. I can see how people might prefer Sean Connery. I think Timothy Dalton was very underrated. Roger Moore, not so much. But I am a fan of this movie. I think it was a good action movie. It had pretty much everything you need, except for romance. But I'm not a big romance guy. It had everything you need in the movie. I loved it. Plus, in this time of year, the best thing about this movie is it was not a hint of Santa Claus. So I liked it. So, yes, this movie gets a thumbs up from me. I enjoyed it. I liked it. And that's it. We only have 2 more James Bond movies to go. And then we're going to actually go into our next chapter, which is going to be the X-Men, ladies and gentlemen, which is going to start in 3 weeks. So looking forward to that. I don't know why you're shaking your head down there, see?
No, I'm just ecstatic.
12 X-Men movies
All 12
are coming your way.
Yes.
X-Men.
Yeah,
From
baby.
X-Men to Logan. Actually, I think it's 13 because we got to do New Mutants. So it's a lot. Actually, hold on. 3.
I don't think that has anything
3.
I don't think
we'll be doing X-Men for the foreseeable future for forever. So stay tuned.
X-Men.
Wait,
14
what?
Part of X-Men? Is New Mutants part of X-Men?
If y'all wanted to add these Logan movies in there, we got to add in the new movie.
Hey, Chrissy, thank you for the enthusiasm and support of what we all voted on. Thanks.
Begrudgingly, I give it okay, but okay.
It's just like a freaking a horror movie type of thing.
You know what? You guys did say something interesting. I would like to see Timothy Dalton's Bond. I'm a big Timothy Dalton fan.
If I could have picked a second one, I would have picked the Timothy Dalton one. I really was a big fan of I was about to say Live and Let Live. Live and Let Die. And that's a Roger Moore one. No, it's License to Kill. I was a big fan of that one, and I would really love to review that one. Once again, I think Timothy Dalton was very underrated. Really good action guy. So, but that's me. But that's a conversation. Yeah, that's a conversation for another time. We'll talk about that more in post-production. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Let's go ahead, Vic, and take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching another edition of Unpopular Reviews Entertainment. Thank you. Have a great night, and see you next time. Wait, I don't have a banner. I don't have to think.
Leave us a thumbs up and a comment.
Oh,
love you. Bye.
Give us a thumbs up. Love, like, share, and subscribe. And where is the outro?